Okay, in this video I'm going over the main card of UFC Fight Night, Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. It is a pretty shitty card, but we're going to predict it, and I'm going to predict it correctly. So we'll start with Torres Finney versus Robert Valentin. So this is teeny tiny Hulk man coming into the UFC. Torres Finney's making his debut. He has 3 Contender Series wins, all pretty clear victories, I would say. And he is 5'7" at middleweight. He is a stocky, tiny, little Hulk, freaky creature, and I'm excited to see him fight. With that being said, Robert Valentin is also a freaky creature in his own right. He believes in the Norse mythology, which no harm to that. I think that's cool. I think that's funny. I think believing you're going to go to Valhalla is not common nowadays and should be appreciated in today's day and age. I really like Robert Valentin, and I like him in this matchup as well. I think Robert Valentin will use his reach and his height to his advantage. I would fucking hope. The reach advantage isn't actually crazy. Torres Finney has really long arms for his height. 5'7", 75.5 inches of reach. Robert Valentin 6'2" with 77. That's not very bad. But the height advantage is still there. Robert Valentin is very good on the feet, and he has a lot of finishing potential. And I see him knocking out Torres Finney on the feet. Torres Finney has very good wrestling. He's very powerful wrestling, and he has knockouts. I just don't see him I don't see him chinning Robert Valentin. I see Valentin be able to stay on the outside of his punches, and I see if they get in close in a clinch game, I see Robert Valentin dropping hard elbows on the top of his head, pretty much on the top of his head from the amount of height difference. And I just see him being able to keep it range and punch down. If it goes to the ground, Torres Finney will win. This is a very hard fight to predict, but I'm going to go with Robert Valentin by knockout. Torres Finney is undefeated, and to be honest, him getting knocked out, he either goes down really funny in a really funny way like an Alonzo Minifield, or he never gets knocked out in his entire life. But I do kind of sense a knockout. I don't know why, but I think Robert's very slick on the feet, and Torres Finney could get him down. He's very powerful. But is Torres Finney going to go far in the UFC at this point? I don't know. He could get past Robert Valentin, but I don't know if I trust his future. With that being said, it's funny having him in the UFC in general. So I'm excited to see what he does. But I'll go with Robert Valentin. If Torres Finney proves me wrong, then all power to him. Next, Ode Osborne versus Luis Gurul. So, Luis Gurul's undefeated. He's coming off of wins, something Ode Osborne doesn't do. He's 12-8. Ode Osborne just loses, and Luis Gurul doesn't. And that's pretty much the basis I'm going off of. Luis Gurul has a ton of momentum. He's well-rounded, and he's gritty, and he likes to push forward, and Ode Osborne just lost to Ronaldo Rodriguez, that's his name. Fucking big ass gum man, who is proving to be shit. In his last performance, Ronaldo Rodriguez really shit the bed. So him beating Ode Osborne, no matter how close it was, is not a good look to me at all. So I'm going to go with Luis Gurul to make it gritty, to push forward. At flyweight, they're all going to be good. They're all going to be technical. I think the momentum is huge, especially in flyweight. And I'm going to go with Luis Gurul being undefeated, being good and winning. And Ode Osborne just doesn't. So I'm going to go with Luis Gurul to win this, probably by decision. Ode Osborne is kind of hard to finish. So next, Brad Tavares versus Gerald Meerschaert. I really want to pick Gerald Meerschaert because I like Gerald Meerschaert and I think he's funny. And the way he fights is really funny. But Gerald Meerschaert's big thing he will grind you with a grappling, and Brad Tavares doesn't get taken down. He has very good takedown defense. He's kind of known for that. It's kind of his thing. He has very good takedown defense, and Gerald Meerschaert just doesn't really have anything on the feet. He has a decent amount on the feet, I guess. I just don't trust they're the same age, but I just don't trust Gerald Meerschaert's striking when his wrestling is completely cut out of his game, which it will be in this matchup. His wrestling will be eliminated. So I think Brad Tavares will just have the edge in the striking, and I think that's what it will come down to. I don't predict Gerald Meerschaert being able to hold Brad Tavares up against a cage for a long time. If he does, that's how he wins. I think Gerald Meerschaert wins this fight by holding Brad Tavares up against a cage and getting a decision win, maybe a robbery decision win. But I just see Brad Tavares stuffing the takedowns and beating him on the feet. Sadly, because I really want Gerald Meerschaert to win. He could win, but Brad Tavares also has a really good chin, so I don't see him winning. I don't see Gerald. I just don't see a path ahead for Gerald Meerschaert to win this fight. He's not going to knock him out. He doesn't have Gregory Rodriguez's power. I just don't see it. So I'm going to go with Brad Tavares by decision. This is probably going to be a boring card, to be honest. Next, Cortavius Ramius versus Lee Chang-ho. So Cortavius Ramius had a boring fight in his last performance. But his last performance was his debut, I'm pretty sure. He's 5'3" at bantamweight. He's small for bantamweight. And Lee Chang-ho is 5'7" for bantamweight, which is tall. It's not tall, but it's 4 inches taller than Cortavius Ramius. Is a 6. Yeah, the reach difference isn't that bad. I just think that Lee Chang-ho had a better performance in his last fight than Cortavius Ramius did, and he's bigger and rangier, and I think he will grit down, and he has a good chin. I think Lee Chang-ho is going to win this fight, probably by decision, by just being able to push a little bit better of a pace. I think Cortavius Ramius. Lee Chang-ho, I respect his abilities a little bit more. I respect his opponents that he's fought a little bit more. And I just think, momentum-wise, I think it goes to Lee Chang-ho. Long Zhao is not, he's hard to beat. He's not like a pushover, I would say. So I think Lee Chang-ho is going to have the edge here, especially because Cortavius Ramius went pretty toe-to-toe with Gaston Bolaños, who's 8-4 and doesn't look, he's just not all that. So I would say, like, credentials-wise and opponent-wise, I'm going to go Lee Chang-ho. And momentum-wise, I'm just going to go Lee Chang-ho to edge this one out by decision. I don't really care about that one at all. That can go either way, and I don't really care. But 10-1, 9-3, every stat advantage. I'm going to go with Lee Chang-ho to win. Next, Pat Sabatini versus Joe Anderson Brito. So Joe Anderson is just he's just all around he's just good. William Gomez beat him, but that was a robbery. In my opinion, I thought Joe Anderson Brito won that fight. He's just gritty and he pushes forward and he's good grappling. He's well-rounded in general. Pat Sabatini has some submission wins recently against people that aren't good. And other than that, he just gets beat. He's just not that good to me. Pat Sabatini, he has a submission win over Jonathan Pierce, who I don't think is very good at all. And then he got knocked out by Diego Lopez. He has a submission win over Lucas Almeida, which is not as bad. And then he got knocked out by Damon Jackson. I don't trust him to win against a gritty. He's like, Joannis Brito really pushes the pace. He grits down hard, and he can go anywhere in the fight, and he will. And he's just comfortable in a little bit more of a controlled chaos than Pat Sabatini would be. And Pat Sabatini's not William Gomez. He's not going to outstrike you on the outside and stuff takedowns efficiently, I don't think, to be honest. So I'm going to go with Joe Anderson Brito to just push the pace, grit down, throw a lot. And if anybody's getting takedowns, I think Joe Anderson Brito will be. I don't think Pat Sabatini's going to take down Joe Anderson Brito in this fight. I just don't see it happening. And momentum-wise, Joe Anderson Brito's got the edge by a mile, in my opinion, in their careers in general. Actually, no. Momentum-wise, Pat Sabatini is coming off of a win. But Joe Anderson Brito, aura-wise, he has the edge, I think. Also, Pat Sabatini's 4 years older. Kind of getting out of his prime, while Joe Anderson's kind of just entering it. So I'm going to go with Joe Anderson Brito to win this fight. Probably, sadly, by decision. If not, I could see him finishing Pat Sabatini by knockout. He really likes to push and throw hard. So I could see Brito getting him out of there by knockout in the second or third. Hopefully that, because I don't want to see all decisions. But now we have the main event, which I will be predicting a knockout for you-know-who. Josh Emmett versus Lerone Murphy. So every single bone in my body, it's really like hard to pick Josh Emmett here. Lerone Murphy's undefeated. He's very slick on the feet. He pieced up Edson Barboza in his last fight. Or not his last fight. 2 fights ago. His last fight he beat Dan Ige, which he dismembered Dan Ige as well. He just is all around well-rounded and good. And he has good grappling as well. Does he get down Josh Emmett? I don't know. Josh Emmett's very powerful. If anybody's going to go for a takedown and get it, I think it will be Lerone. I see Lerone Murphy. Lerone Murphy's been caught on the feet before and kind of a little bit jiggly jaggly. And Josh Emmett, you can't get caught on the feet with. That's my big take here. Josh Emmett's getting old. He's 40. He's very old. But what he's not getting is less power. He still has the power that he's always had. Josh Emmett has the most power at featherweight. Right now, he definitely does. He is a fucking powerhouse. And his overhand right is the most lethal in the UFC, I would say. The way he did Bryce Mitchell was just filthy. Josh Emmett has a ton of highlight KOs. He's gritty. He knows how to move forward. He is tough as fuck. We know that from many performances, but especially the Topuria performance. He wouldn't give up. He got knocked out like 6 times in that fight, and he kept pushing forward, which is impressive, as we know now, because Topuria's knocked out Holloway, he's knocked out Volk. He couldn't get Josh Emmett either. That's very impressive. I don't see Lerone Murphy finishing Emmett, at least by knockout. He could catch a submission somehow, because that's happened to Emmett before, but I don't think it will, to be honest. Josh Emmett, his last fight was against Bryce Mitchell, so he has a ton of momentum, and he knows he can put hands on a motherfucker and knock him out. That's something he knows he can do. Lerone Murphy, though, has never been knocked out. He's never lost a fight. So that's still in the air of will Lerone Murphy, will he lose a fight? Because he hasn't yet. I just see Josh Emmett getting beat for a good amount of the fight, 2 or 3 rounds. I see him getting outdone a little bit on the feet. Maybe he has to stuff a couple takedowns or some on the cage scrambling. But then I see Josh Emmett pushing forward, and I see him catching Lerone with something small, but something that gets his attention and gets him like, oh shit. And then I see follow-up where Josh Emmett starts throwing hard and maybe screaming a little bit, and then whang! Hits him bad and drops him and knocks him out cold. I know it's not the most smart prediction based on the credentials of the two right now, at least. But you can't deny Josh Emmett's power. He's one of those fighters where you have to take that into consideration. No matter where he's at in his career, he has that ability. And Lerone Murphy, he's shown me good stuff, but he's also, I don't know, he reminds me of it's not just because he's British, but he reminds me of like a Leon Edwards, where he's going to do good in every fight, but he's not going to do above and beyond in every fight. And I think Josh Emmett, if he starts getting beat at this point in his career, I think he's not the guy to start wilting as time goes on and his fights get tougher. For me, at least, he's the guy. What I would predict is that he's the guy that would be just like mean. And as he ages, he just gets more gritty, more mean. When he starts taking damage, he gets more resentful of it. He gets pissed. And I think he puts hands on Lerone Murphy. And all it takes for Josh Emmett is 1. And yeah, I'm going to go with knockout for Josh Emmett late in the 3rd round or early 4th. Those are my predictions. Let me know what you think. Hopefully I get them all right. And I will see you soon.